The full moon in Aries, it's happening on the 7th of October. Aries, where Mars rules, where the sun is exalted. It's the sign of the ram, headstrong, butting heads to get his females to spread his seeds. It's the time of year when the light is dominating, it is taking over from the dark. It's spring when everything is coming to life. And this is where the full moon is. The significations we have here, and this moon in Aries is bravery, courage, that victorious warrior energy. So it can be to do with assertiveness, dominance even, or confrontation. And there can be fear here. There can be enmity, hostility, and selfishness, conflict. It is the sign of the youth, of the emperor in the tarot card, so that sense of rulership, the archetype of the poor, the youth, the young energy. And the moon in her full illumination in Aries will be shining in her fullness, reflecting the brilliance of the sun that sits in Libra in the dark of the night. It's the manifestation of what lay hidden, the flower laid bare at that full moon, and the full flower which determines the fruit that will be produced is now visible as the bud has fully opened. And it's going to reveal the quality and possible quantity of a later harvest. But if we remember that the sun in its opposition is in Libra, that is the scales, the weighing. It is a sign of the harvest where we reap what we're sowing. There's that sense of karmic balancing, the weighing of the heart against the feather. So our harvest is being illumined from Libra by the sun. The full moon is the culmination point of what was seeded at the new moon in the solar eclipse in Virgo on the 21st September. Big karmic endings and the start of new cycles. This full moon is bringing illumination and clarity to the intentions we planted and the possible weeds we've grown. There's always weeds that grow along with the flowers. During the waning moon, this new clarity that we gain at this full moon will enable us to let go of the things that will get in the way of our harvest. So this full moon is on that Aries and Libra axis. So we have the Aries energy, the archetypes I described, that sense of I am. Can be headstrong, fiery. It is in a fiery sign. It's cardinal, so it's initiative. It will initiate new cycles. And that comes up against that balance in opposition, the balance of Libra, the Venusian energy, the harmony and balance. But it's fire and air, which can be combustion. Too much air can cause that forest fire, so it might be a good time to channel that air wisely. Our thoughts, speech, communication, or our blusters of hot air. So we have Mars and Venus, and the fire triplicity rulers are the sun, it's exalted there in Aries, and the nighttime ruler is Jupiter, with Saturn as a participant. The ruler of Aries full moon is Mars, and it's sitting in Scorpio. Very strong there. It's its other temple as well as Aries. So that brings about death's ending. We're talking of, autumn time when the leaves are falling off the tree, when the dark is there, it's taken over from the light. And this awakening desire for something new and fresh with those death, that sense of death and ending, feelings of intensity and depth. The eclipse on the 21st of September in Virgo started bringing about endings, huge generational eclipse cycle that ended, that was seeded in 1968. And then we're looking also at the 6-month cycle that will be working its way out until March 2026. So Mars in Scorpio, the ruler of the Aries full moon, is calling for action to end what was and to look at the bloom of what it is you desire to move forward during this new cycle. The fire and new start that is emerging within, in your inner life and in your outer life, what you're putting out there, what you're creating. So the sun, being that fire, the daytime fire triplicity ruler, is also the ruler of the second decan of Aries, which is where the full moon is taking place. It is slightly weakened, the sun, in that it's in its full in Libra, so it can't bring about its significations as easily. But being exalted in Aries where the full moon is, and the full moon taking place in that decan, that second decan that the sun rules, it's going to be looking, the sun, for that balance, for the aesthetic, for beautifying things. You could get stuck in indecision whilst looking for meaningful ways forward, as that full moon brings you the clarity of what you've planted and what's working. There could be ifing and butting, if this, but that. So we have to be aware of that. You also may need to take your sights off others for validation and meaning, and search within yourself to find those things. This is Aries. It's cardinal. It's looking for independence and leadership. Now, the ruler of the eclipse, solar eclipse in Virgo, which is where we planted our seeds back in September, is Mercury, and it is now sitting with the ruler of this full moon, Mars, in Scorpio. So that is going to be pushing for a deep dive to listen to your inner self. Patterns of codependency that may have arisen or may have already been there, part of your old pattern, as you've worked to move forward with your intentions, will be supported by that Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, in that they are pushing for communication, for you to seek what is truthful, what is authentic about you, and pushing down into the depths, Scorpio, of who you are. Both Mars and Mercury will be looking for a communication of your desires, a stating of your meaning and how you wish to push forward with that purpose. So if you're having difficulties with communication, if you're having difficulties trying to find validation, someone to validate your next move forward, you could fall into that Mars and Mercury in Scorpio. Listen to yourself and then bring those forward. You're a co-creator. Codependency takes the edge of that force, that action of Mars forward and that action of Mercury to communicate how you wish to move forward. And then we have the nighttime fire triplicity ruler, Jupiter. And that's sitting in Cancer, and that is going to bring its goodness, its optimism. And there in Cancer will be expanding your feelings of comfort and sense of safety in this full moon as it flows to Mars in Scorpio, the ruler of the full moon, by a superior whole sign trine. And although Jupiter is also in a whole sign square to the full moon in Aries, Jupiter sits in the moon's temple camp. The moon will support Jupiter's good intentions, albeit with that level of tension. And the moon throughout the day on the 7th will travel into that exact square to Jupiter. But they'll have that mutual reception to highlight the tensions, whether those tensions are connected to fears around safety or embodiment, inhabiting yourself fully. I spoke about the communication and the drive to push your purpose and your sense of meaning forward, to make your life authentically yours. So speaking that truth, following your desires and passions, or stepping bravely into your purpose and journey, that will all be supported for you there. And although there are no aspects by degree of this full moon, there are those aspects of whole sign. So we also have the sextiles Aries is making with Gemini, where Uranus sits, and with Aquarius, where Pluto is sitting. And both Uranus and Pluto are in degree-based trines. They're at the 0 and 1 degrees of their sign. So that's bringing an input of empowerment and rebellion, which we may need to move out into this new beginning that we seeded back at Virgo solar eclipse. We can then embrace our desires, our passions and drive, whilst letting go over the next 2 weeks of those things that bring any sense of disempowerment, the weeds that we planted there as well. So both Gemini and Aquarius are of the air element, so will be related to the way we think, communicate, the voice. And air is the east, where the sun rises, new beginnings, and it's the swords of the tarot, the ability to cut through and cut away anything that's preventing us striking out and carrying forward our purpose and place in the world. And if you want to understand more what that placement of Uranus in Gemini is, that air energy, I'll link my Uranus in Gemini video, The Great Mind Rebellion, either at the top or at the end of the video, and go take a look at that. That will give you a really good insight to Uranus and what it's doing there in Gemini. Let's have a little look at the tarot significations, because they're very interesting and add another layer to this full moon. They're symbols we can work with. The significations for Aries is the Emperor. And the second decan of Aries, where the full moon is happening and where the sun rules, is the Three of Wands. But we've also got the moon there in Aries, and that's signified by the High Priestess. So it's a powerful combination, a really powerful combination. We have that energy of the High Priestess coming up within us. It's the hidden stuff, the inner esoteric knowledge, that higher knowledge. We've got that Emperor who is the authority, the leader, that power forward, and the Three of Wands. So it's a powerful combination. And that decan in the Latin Picatrix astrological magic book, there's an image, and it says that this image for this decan causes nobleness, height of a kingdom, and great dominion. So this is the Emperor governing with moral and ethical standards. So that's the symbols we're being called to, and fairness. So we can draw on that sense of fairness as well from the sun opposing in Libra, the sign of the scales, and the Justice tarot card. There's this karmic balancing occurring, and we are being asked to be fair to ourselves. And with that moon as signified by the High Priestess, she is that beauty of esoteric knowledge. And at the crux of this knowledge, of all esoteric knowledge, is that know thyself, knowing who we are and in connection to all else that exists, whether it's seen or unseen. And the sun is about shining this out. The moon's fullness is being illumined. The Emperor is that fairness, being strong, governing ourselves, our passions, our desires, our thoughts, emotions, our bodies, and driving that outwards. And with the Emperor, there can be that element of conquering, but here in this decan, he's governing fairly. So that's the symbolism that's calling us forwards. And with the Three of Wands, that is the second decan of Aries, where the moon is, it's about building powerful, good government, attending to the well-being of everyone, including ourselves. So that is knowing ourselves, the High Priestess, shining ourselves, the sun, opposing in Libra and ruling that decan the moon's in, and being that emperor who governs well. Whether that is ourselves or others, we have that implied power over it, like our children or those we teach, employees. The suggestion is good governance over self, ruling over ourselves, our passions, desires, emotions, thoughts, vision, and challenging them into something that is for the greatest good of all. So it's a powerful symbolic combination. And the other powerful symbolism that we can look at is the Sabian symbol for 15 degrees of Aries. And it dovetails beautifully into the astrology for this full moon, plus the symbology of the tarot. So the image of that Sabian symbol is of an indigenous person weaving a ceremonial blanket. And the keynote for the symbol is projecting into everyday living the realization of wholeness and fulfillment. All the themes that I've mentioned about our communication of empowerment, how we're being illumined both inside, the clarity we have about ourselves and how we're putting our desires and passion and drive into the world to serve something bigger than ourselves, are in this symbol. The end note on the Sabian symbol says, we're being told by this symbol that fulfillment of desire is a possibility at whatever level and in however incomplete a manner it may be experienced. So yeah, an incredible symbol, but we also need to be aware that we can bring illusion to this. We can get power mad or become arrogant with our communication, that dark side. But also because we still have Neptune retrograding in Aries. And Neptune can bring that illusory note to it, but it can also bring to clarity for us that realm of pure potential. Neptune's the unbounded, the sense of connects him to the oneness of all that is. So all those symbols, the astrology, the tarot symbology, the Sabian symbology, are powerful images and symbols for us to work with on this full moon. So with all this beautiful symbol around this full moon in Aries, I thought we're all beginning to start something new or to be a new version of ourselves. We're doing that constantly, but this is a big finishing, with the solar eclipse, and it's a big beginning for us. So I thought I'd suggest a journaling prompt, and it'll help us to reflect on that I am of Aries, the archetype, a passionate sense of being, and allow the Neptunian unbounded answers to arise in us. It helps us to work with our shadow also. So my suggestion is to write down I am, and then without centering yourself or analysing what's coming to mind or bringing that judgment and criticism, that self-critic being active, write the list as it comes. For example, you can write, I am a writer, I am a mother, I am emotional, I am beautiful, I am a hot mess. Whatever comes up, I am right all the time, anything. Just allow it to flow out without judging. So when you've written it down, when you feel that everything inside you with that I am has come up, sit down with it and reflect on it. Have a bit of ceremony, light your candles, whatever you do for your sense of making that sacred space, and really reflect on whatever has been written down. And you may find from this exercise where your strengths are or where you're disempowered or empowered. You might find where there's fears, concerns about how you want to move outwards in the world, or what you want to accomplish in the world for yourself and others. I felt a good journal prompt to really work with this full moon and embody it. It's lovely to have all the information on the full moon, but if we don't embody those things, then we lose it. We can make it very real by doing some ritualistic, sacred work with these transits. So I hope that is all helpful for you. If you do the journal prompting, or you work another way with that full moon, let me know in the comments below how that worked out for you, whether it was helpful, because I can bring journal prompts that may be helpful if that's what you all want. What I'm going to do now is I am going to bring you a more practical, in a sense, application to use. I'm going to go through the houses and I am going to bring the themes and topics, and I will also bring you an oracle card from the shaman's dream. I thought with Neptune there, co-present with this full moon, it's very dreamy, and unbounded. So we'll have that shaman's dream oracle and a card for each sign. If you like or enjoy the video, please pop a like above and a comment in the box below. And if you're not already, subscribe. And a big thank you to all the subscribers who came over from Marina's channel. You're really welcome here, and I very much appreciate your subscription. Hello, Aries. So this full moon is in your first house. So you are being illumined. First house is about your identity, your character, your body. And the moon also signifies your body and your circumstances of how you move and change within the world. How you do your work, find your purpose, gather income, how you relate to yourself and others at home or out in the world. So anything to do with you and who you are. And the card that came out for you, Aries, is Sky Dancers. And it's about liberation from attachment and surrender. So sky, we're thinking of air, aren't we? So that sun in Libra, bringing that balance and harmony. That Uranus, I think there may be a lot to do with Uranus here. Liberation from attachment and surrendering to the process. Maybe that is the process of transformation that Pluto is bringing in your Aquarius part of your house. So that's an invitation for you to welcome the deepest part of the feminine in your life, this Sky Dancers. So the receptivity, that surrender to the transformation. There may be an over-analysing that you've done, Aries, of your situation, and it's exhausting for you. So it's time to invite the sacred feminine, the wisdom within your heart, no matter what your gender, to guide you to success. So this book is saying, if you've become earthbound, plotting and planning and praying for change, cease and desist. Break the habit of being yourself, of repeating the same behaviour and hoping for a different outcome. I think Einstein said that's the definition of madness, isn't it? Stop trying to figure it all out and stop overthinking it. Surrender. The Sky Dancers are heralding the arrival of a new relationship with yourself in your work or in your love life. Do not assume that this person or opportunity will rescue you. The only way to liberation is to kiss the ground goodbye and take flight, to rise above the fray and drama of the struggling, arguing mind. Dance in the sky and view the madness below by simply witnessing the actors and the human comedy unfolding on the ground. You're transforming it. As you observe the drama, you'll unleash the power of the sacred feminine that allows for resolution. The Sky Dancers know the maps of heaven and the way to the holiest and most sacred spaces on earth. They come to help you with your current life, and even more important, to guide you to the realization of your own divinity. How beautiful, Aries. I hope you find this full moon really constructive. If you want a personal read, either astrological or tarot, pop on over to www.soulsymbols.co.uk. Okay, there's a range of services there, starting from as little as £20. So hop on over there and have a look. All right, bye-bye then, Aries. So, hello, Taurus. This full moon is happening in your 12th house. So that's the house. It's all things hidden, can be to do with things that are hidden in our subconscious. It's also to do with isolation. So that can be hospitals, prisons, those hidden things. Also self-sabotage or patterns of self-sabotage, and can be to do with addictions, habits. But you've got that full moon bringing illumination there. So those things are very important for you as you do your I am journal work, if you want to do it. So the card I have for you is a beautiful one. Because the 12th house is very hidden, it's hard to know if we started or ended something. But you have got, Taurus, the closing door. So you must have been working on yourself, your inner work, the places that are hidden in you. It is about endings, it's about completion, and it's about new beginnings, that greater calling. So I'll read what the book says, but this is a beautiful card for the 12th house, a confirmation that even if you're not completely aware of it, these things, patterns are ended. Pluto's bringing those transformations. Uranus is bringing those breakthroughs. Mars and Mercury are giving you the passion, desire, and drive to move out into that new beginnings. So the book says when the closing door shows up, it's a call to recognize an ending, to terminate a relationship, job, task, or situation that has been dragging on for far too long. The 12th house can also be to do with hidden enemies. Just a little thing. Unlock the cage you've been trapped in. That might be that self-sabotaging. And shut the door behind you. This is not the time to worry about what others might think or feel. Instead, break with your routine. Consider what you think and how you feel, and be true to your heart's calling. It's a time to walk out the door. If you don't see a door, but only a solid wall in front of you, ask for assistance. Muster the courage to say no more. Remember as well that no one else needs to be wrong in order for you to do what you've known you needed to do for a long time. If the door to a project or a relationship has been closed to you, stop knocking on it. You've tried that already and no one answered, at least not in the way you would have liked. Take this as a gift, difficult and painful as it might be. Move on. The 12th house can bring that kind of surrender. I'm surrendering to that unknown, to that hidden stuff. But move on, it's saying. Every door that shuts is an invitation to find another way, another path to your destination. Better to recognize this earlier rather than later. We have 6 months of this Virgo eclipse playing out, these seeds, so it doesn't all have to be done now, and this is right at the beginning. What might be being illumined are those things that you do need to move on. How many of us leave a relationship or job years after we knew it was time to move on? Stop wallowing in the pain, that's a bit harsh, this is what the book says, and lingering on the reasons why things did not work. It is keeping you from your greater calling. Bow deeply before the closed door, give thanks to the lesson, and set yourself free. Some difficult words there, Taurus, but really helpful, and a sense of that completion, which is so much in this energetic, so aligned with the energetics. So I hope that's all helpful for you. I hope it gives you some things and topics, both the first part and this, that is particular to you. And you can do your I am reflections in your journal and kind of make some real solid things for yourself going forward. If you did enjoy this reading, then please subscribe or like or drop a comment. But also, if you want a personal reading, hop on over to www.soulsymbols.co.uk. The Astrology Oracle, tarot readings, shadow readings, illumination readings. Pop over and have a look at their readings, as little as £20 for 20-minute tarot over there. All right then, Taurus, have a lovely full moon. Bye-bye. Hello, Gemini. So this full moon for you is happening in your 11th house, and that is called the house of good fortune, the house of good spirits. So good things happen there. Jupiter loves it there, and Jupiter is a benefic planet. So it's around the themes of friends, friendships, groups, community, and about those people behind the scenes who support you as you move out with your hopes, dreams, and wishes, your ambitions, your goals in life. So they are the themes that are being talked about in terms of this full moon. They're the things that are being illumined for you, okay? And the card I have for you is absolutely lovely. It's Winter's Dream, gestation period. So it's about sanctuary, conscious awareness. And this is lovely because we're moving into autumn, and you know, where you like your snuggly blankets out, and well, I do anyway, and where you get yourself warm and cozy, and you shut off a bit of a hibernation period in some ways. The book says the Winter's Dream is a summons to go within. Your life force longs to turn inward, like the sap of trees returning to the roots. The ruler of this full moon, and alongside with your ruler in the 6th house of health and hard work. So there may be that need to retreat inwards, okay? It may be illumined that you need to retreat a bit from maybe the social side of life. Just have a look at your health, your time, your balance with work, or pull back on the work. But it is about sanctuary, so and rest. Your life force longs to turn inwards like the sap of trees returning to the roots. Cast your gaze toward the deep and hidden places in your heart. Come to rest again in the sanctuary and safety of your soul, and be at peace, basking in your crystalline clarity in the quiet place. This is not hibernation. Do not fall asleep. And I said hibernation, but the book's saying no, it's not hibernation. Take your quiet, wakeful nature with you into the stillness, and know that you're replenishing your life force. And Gemini, you can be very active mentally and socially, but this is a call to kind of go within with, you know, with yourself and replenish that life force. Trust that the deeply buried seeds inside your soul, the ones you planted even before you were born, and at the Virgo solar eclipse, I'd say, are stirring softly, ready to awaken with the spring. But don't try to rouse them early. Instead, surrender to the quiet of Winter's Dream. Winter's Dream can lull you into a slumber where you can lose consciousness and become caught in a nightmare. Awaken. Find that easy return to wakefulness that brings you clarity. This is the time to set your priorities in order, yet not to act on any of them. So kind of planning. This is talking about planning, prioritizing your time and your energy. Allow the clarity and transparency that comes with the Winter's Dream to permeate your heart and soul. The time for action will come later. Remember that all things are born of dreams. That's your 11th, where the full moon is, and your task is to wake up within the dream to lucidly guide it to your chosen destination. And the 11th house is hopes, dreams, wishes, goals, ambitions. Okay, so it fits lovely with that 11th house. Yeah, and remember, this period on from the full moon is when the moon is waning. So naturally, the natural cycle is to wind down, become a bit more reflective and a bit slower. That's your cards. That's a little bit about the themes that will be about for you on this full moon. And I hope that was helpful, Gemini. If you want a private read, pop along to www.soulsymbols.co.uk. There are tarot readings, oracle readings, lunation cycle readings, astrology readings, and they're readings starting as cheap as £20 for 20-minute tarot reading. So go have a look, Gemini, and book one if you fancy it while you're gestated in your winter's dream. All right, lots of love to you, Gemini. Bye-bye. Hello, Cancer. So you've got this full moon illuminating your 10th house. So that's about your work, your career, your vocation. So it doesn't have to be your paid work. It's about how you shine in the world. So your reputation, your status, power, but also about your advancement, how you move on, your position, and the likelihood of success, awards, prizes. It's that public recognition of you. So beautiful themes there. And I have a card that I pulled, which is lovely for this, is the benefactor. And the other thing that I notice for you, Cancer, is you have Jupiter in your first house. So it's wonderful energy for you. Jupiter is expansive, nurturing, all the things that I said at the beginning, growth potential there. He's a benefic planet. So I'll read this card out for you. It is absolutely lovely. The benefactor, grace and generosity, gifts, support, and mentoring. So it could be for your public acclaim and your vocation. When the benefactor weaves her energy into your life, you're put on notice that all manner of positive reinforcement is coming your way. And that really speaks of that Jupiter in your first house. Been working, beavering away there. The universe wants to let you know that just as you've been generous with others, serving with your gifts, even in the smallest capacity, so will you be rewarded in a myriad of ways. The most beautiful gift the benefactor gives is the recognition that you are stewarding and sharing abundance on behalf of a higher source, one that is always working through you. The motives for her generosity to you, as well as yours to others, are intangible, although you will see the results reflected in the material world. So that goes beautiful with the reflection of that moon in your public house, the 10th house. The benefactor reminds you that it's in the purity of your desire to share without the need for reciprocity that paradoxically, your initial generation is reciprocated tenfold, seemingly without any connection to the original act. Dream sharing and caring into being. You will be amazed to see this vibrant seed take root and spread. Do it just because, and the benefactor will give you her blessing. So just a beautiful card for you, Cancer. And caring, nurturing is the byword of Cancer rising for sure. So wonderful energy for you, and some themes there with that 10th house where you can do your prompts for this full moon if you choose to. But beautiful energies for you. Okay then, Cancer, if you enjoyed that, do the usual, like, subscribe, etc., etc. And if you do want a reading, and there are oracle readings, lunation readings, astrology readings, soul path, shadow, there's an awful lot there. Readings start as low as £20 for a tarot reading, a 20-minute tarot reading. So pop on over to www.soulsymbols.co.uk and see what's over there that I offer. All right then, Cancer. Bye-bye. Hello, Leo. So this full moon is happening for you in your 9th house. Very interesting place to be having this. So it is to do with journeying, and that can be journeying literally, but it's to places that are unfamiliar environments, maybe remote places. So we can connect this up to journeys within, the sort of lucid dreaming, visionary work, astrology and divination, mysticism, all those types of things here in that 9th house. There's those themes. It can also be to do with religion, higher learning, and that can be, again, esoteric learning, the magical path, but also literally scholarly learning. Okay, so university learning. It can have a lot to do with lawyers, counsellors, and law, enforcing, ruling over others. Okay, so there's quite a lot of it's quite rich. You can have beliefs, philosophies, all those themes there in the 9th house. And wonderfully, the card you got with such a kind of spiritual place in the zodiac, that 9th house, with spiritual themes there, you got the Watchers, serendipity, an observer witness. So transpersonal. So it's quite a spiritual card. So I'm going to read it to you, and maybe you can help. It will help you along with those things and topics for your journal prompts, your I am journal prompts around those themes. When watchers appear, it's an invitation to stop doing. Pause, get off the treadmill, and take a deep breath. Find the witness within, the one who could observe the fire and fury happening all around you, but is not caught in any of the drama. And your fire, Leo, and this full moon's happening, trying your sign in a fire sign, okay? So that fire and fury, and as I said in the beginning video, you know, Mars is in Scorpio, very powerful, so it can bring that kind of fiery communication there with Mercury. So you can remove yourself from it, okay? The time is right to step back. If you have a thought or opinion, keep it to yourself. If you have a feeling that needs to be expressed, do it in the shower. Do not engage with the action happening around you. Simply observe. So you're going to witness things, Leo, this card is calling for. Watchers show up to direct your attention to the horizon and away from the anthill in front of you. Others might think you're simply doing nothing, but let them know that you're helping the sun to set in the evening sky. What a wonderful card for you, Leo, with the sun as your ruler. You're helping the sun to set in the evening sky. There are bigger things to attend to. You've spent such a long time trying to correct the course of events and the action of others. Let it be for a short while as you become the observer rather than the doer. And we are talking on this full moon or being shown how we're dealing with a new cycle, what we need to let go of in the waning moon ahead over the next 2 weeks. So yeah, that should bring clarity there for you. The watchers invite you to break free from the linear causal pace of petty day to day, rise to divine coincidence, to serendipity, and notice how the act of seeing the heart of the matter produces results. Yep, Leo, the heart of the lion. So look at the heart of the matter. Things happen without you doing anything. Creation unfolds in its own mysterious ways, requiring only a sacred witness. It's a beautiful card for you, Leo, in so many ways, that fire energy there about the dropping into the heart. Maybe getting off center stage, not getting wrapped up in especially conflict that is likely to occur around this full moon. Emotions are raised and it's in Aries, which is fiery. Yeah. So step back, Leo, enjoy watching. I mean, that sounds awful. Not enjoy the difficulty, but enjoy not being caught up in all that and look at what you're birthing in this world. None of us want to create new karma in the sense of storing up consequences to our actions. So I think that's the wisdom of this Watchers cards for you. Well, I hope that was helpful, Leo, and I hope that it will help you with your journal prompts with those themes and with that card, some reflective material for you at this full moon. If you want a personal read, I have lunation reads that I work with your natal chart with, or just purely by tarot and oracle cards. I've got soul path, shadow readings, astrology readings, solar returns. Yeah, pop on over if you want. I've got readings there that start at £20 for 20 minutes tarot. So they're pretty affordable, easy to book. Pop on over to soulsymbols.co.uk and you can have a look if you wish to. All right, lots of love to you, Leo. Bye-bye. Hello, Virgo. So you've got this full moon happening in your 8th house, which has got to do with other people's money. It can be debts, it can be legacy money. But what is interesting for you, Virgo, is the trine I was talking about, the air trine that's happening. You have the sun in your 2nd house, Pluto to transform, and about power and rebirth in your 6th house of hard work and health. And then you have Uranus in your 10th house of career, vocation, work. So it's about altar. It's about what you're born to do here, that air trine for you. But the full moon is in that 8th house, and it can be to do with matters to do with that death, dying, loss, a sense of loss, and any fear and anxiety. It sits here in that 8th house. Okay, so a lot going on for you, Virgo, that way, and it's very solidly in the material, but the personal is maybe that anxiety and fear. And this may be, Virgo, because that lunar eclipse, of which this is the fullness, that not lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse, which is closing out a massive karmic cycle and starting a new one, happens in your 1st house. So it's on your axis. So very powerful for you, Virgo, this whole eclipse energy. And that will be working its way out over the next 6 months for you. So those themes and topics, and Virgos are known for the energy of anxiety, worry, and wanting to have all those things put together. The 8th house, like the 12th house, is more of a sort of hidden house. But the card you got was absolutely beautiful. I love it for the picture. It makes me giggle. But it's the horned cactus, okay? And this is blooming through resilience, resourcefulness, and discovery. So that resilience, whatever you have been contending with, Virgo, there's this oracle card is saying resilience is how you're going to bloom, by being resilient, by facing those fears and anxiety, maybe as simply as facing up to any debts you've got. And they can be karmic debts as well, the consequences of actions, good or bad, okay? So I'll read this to you. When nothing seems to be happening fast enough or your ideas have dried up, you begin to question your relevance. During these periods in life, you might feel like giving up, frustrated, and resentful that success will never happen for you. The issue here, however, is a matter of perception. The horned cactus thrives in the barren desert scape, offering you the gift of water where all appears to be dry. If you look at its body, you see the natural thorns that protect it from predators and the elements. What you don't see are the deep roots that extend far into the earth, filling it with a continuous flow of water. This succulent is a symbol of resilience, of resourcefulness, of your needs being met in spite of appearances to the contrary. Okay, so that's looking within for your source of nourishment and sustenance, your vision, your ideas there. A flow of water. It's a reminder of the courage and inherent wisdom needed to dig deep below the less than friendly surface that hides a rich underground world. Can you connect to this magical truth and trust? The desert is a mystical place filled with mysterious creatures beautifully adapted to their environments. The horned cactus tells you to take heart. This journey is only temporary, and you will soon be met with the greener pastures. But first you must acknowledge your inner strength and fortitude as you're tested here. Be as the cactus, resilient and resourceful. Okay then, Virgo, that is an amazing card for a full moon in the 8th house. So the fruit that you're going to be showing may be that of fear or a fear of lack or being left out, that sort of energy. But this card is telling you you've got the wisdom and resilience and resourcefulness to ride this through. So use those topics, what the cards say in the 8th house. If you're going to do that journalism, put your ritual around it. Virgo, you're known for the ability to incorporate ritual. And I'm sure you'll drop down and find your treasures in the darkness, your gifts that are hiding down there. Well, I hope that was helpful for you, Virgo. If you want a personal read, I do Oracle, shadow work, lunation readings. I do astrology, solar returns, lots over there. Reads as low as £20 for 20 minutes tarot reading. So if you're interested in that, then pop over to www.soulsymbols.co.uk. All right, lots of love to you, Virgo. Bye-bye. Hello, Libra. So this full moon is on your angles, so you will feel it. You will know it's happening if you're attuned to the astrology. Okay, so the full moon is literally happening in your 7th house, directly opposite to where the sun sits in your 1st house. So what's being illumined for you in your 7th house? I should give you the themes and then go on to your oracle card so that you've got information you can use for your reflections on this full moon. So the 7th house is about marriage, about intimate relationships. So it can be your lover, your partner, any intimate relationships. But it's also to do with business partnerships and legal contracts. So you may be looking at those themes. Those things will be coming to your attention. Okay, you would have been working with themes from your 12th house, from that lunar eclipse, so could be quite hidden. The 7th house is actually about enemies, open enemies that can also have the theme of, whereas with the 12th house, it's hidden enemies. So perhaps this full moon is illumining those people that were undermining you or sabotaging you back at the lunar eclipse, and now you are moving into a place of clarity with it, and you can close these things down. Okay, so the card I got for you is a beautiful card, and it's kind of showing a bit of a karmic lesson here, because it is skywriting the fates. So it's those things that are in our lives that are out of our control. How others behave in our relationships is definitely out of our control, as are many other things. So skywriting is the fates, that which we cannot change, non-judgment, holding that non-judgment. So it says it is written in the sky that you have a destiny. We all have a destiny. You're being invited to explore certain aspects of life unique to you and you alone. So we had the eclipse, which was an end of a huge generational cycle. You can go back to that eclipse in Virgo video to hear about that. But it's a new start. So this may be giving you the clarity to clear up those loose ends from that eclipse and glean the fruit where you've put down your intentions. So it's a unique destiny, life that's unique to you and you alone. That does not mean that your path will be easy, paved with gold and littered with diamonds. Don't we just wish? Nor does this predict that your journey will be treacherous. It's just your path with parts that cannot be changed and must be radically accepted as they are. So that may be part of your theme. Accept those things you cannot change. In this way, whatever you're faced with, every single aspect of your life is perfect in its imperfection. Not good or bad, neither inflow nor blocked, this nor that. See your life as a series of opportunities rather than an obstacle course. And we can feel like that, can't we, when things are not going as planned. Once you master the skill of non-judgment, you open to the power of curiosity, unencumbered by the burdens of yesterday's fears, as you look ahead into the potential of the future. And we're all at this big point of infinite potential. We can make choices that fulfill the potential that's within us, yeah. Yes, you still need to be brave. Right now, you're facing a critical moment in time. It's on your angles with an opportunity to meet your fate. A choice point where you expand your influence and your capacity for abundance. And on a side note with that, up in your 10th house, which is your vocation, you out in the world, your career, your public face, praise and public recognition, you've got Jupiter, who is the triplicity, the night triplicity ruler of this full moon. So that bodes good. That's abundance, fertility, expansion, growth up there in your 10th. It can expand your influence and your capacity for abundance, love, and purposeful action. Now is the moment to leap into it, whether it be a heart connection, a call to creativity, or a new identity in your work or other area of life. With all your heart and soul. Your success is surely written in the stars. In order to bring your destiny to fruition, you must jump into the adventure with both feet and do your part. So this card is so perfect for you, Libra, at this time. Well, I hope those themes will help you do your I am journaling if you intend to do that. Ritualize it, enjoy it. And in that waning moon after the full moon, as it wanes, just let those things melt away that you see as obstacles. Let it melt away. I think that'll be a useful exercise, Libra. Okay, I really hope that was all very helpful to you and you can get something from that you can use for your reflections on the full moon. If you want a personal reading, I do tarot, astrology, lunation, readings, soul path, shadow, all sorts over there. So pop on over to www.soulsymbols.co.uk. The readings start at a very reasonable price of £20 for a 20-minute tarot reading. There you are, Libra. I hope you get the best you can out of this full moon in Aries. All right, bye-bye. Hello, Scorpio. You've got this full moon in your sixth house, and the themes of the sixth house are rather difficult, a bit like the 12th house. So it can be to do with health or issues with your health, health condition. But also, it can be to do with the health industry, so alternative therapists, opticians, dentists, doctors, nurses. So if you're one of those, it may be illuminating that part. It's also to do with hard work, just work in general, employees. It can be people who work for you. You know, you may have a cleaner or you may be running a firm. It's about those themes. It's also to do with pets, small animals, and it can be aunts and uncles, relatives on your father's side of the family. Those things can come up for you. It can generally be a place where you feel sadness or you're feeling unappreciated by others. Can be a place of affliction. So this illumination for you may be showing those themes to work with, to plan a way forward. And the card I got for you is absolutely beautiful. It's the Garden of Venus. And before I go to read that, the other good thing you have going on for you, Scorpio, is you have your ruler and the ruler of that full moon in your house. So it is empowering you, and Mercury's there to empower your communications, help you speak what your passions, your desires, what you want in your life. And that can be in terms of your health and work and all those themes of the sixth house. So let's read this Garden of Venus, okay? Particularly if you're feeling unappreciated. It's a beautiful card. It's the place of all is well. It's about rest and renewal and self-acceptance. When the Garden of Venus appears, you're invited, actually you're summoned to return to the pleasure garden of love. And that can be so difficult, can't it? When things are a bit gnarly for us, but it can also be the antidote to be around those you love and things you love and pleasures. It's time to leave the field of battle. Put your sword away. There is nothing you need to defend anymore. Step through the gate into a garden of earthly delights. Bask in the joy of the wish-fulfilling trees and the scent of the healing flowers. You've returned home. You're being offered balm for your soul here, Scorpio. You're weary and it's time to rest deeply and be renewed. Go into this sacred garden alone, as there is no need for another to be present to experience its pleasures. Really, stop looking for the other. Enter by yourself. So this could be cool at this full moon to really get some private space, some private time. Do your reflections, do your ritual. Cut out that time and sacred space for yourself. Allow your senses to intoxicate you. Leave all thought behind. Lose your analytical mind and return to your body. In the Garden of Venus, there is a still pond that shows you your reflection when you stoop down to drink. What's staring back at you? Look at who you've become. Rinse your face with these healing waters and practice deep acceptance. Love who you have turned into with all your imperfections and blemishes. This is a brilliant prompt as well for that I am exercise in your journal. Look at the imperfections and blemishes and love them, yeah? The goddess Venus holds a mirror that allows you to see yourself in all your flawed beauty. Do not become caught in its spell. After a quick glance, take the mirror with you and return to the battlefield, that you may reveal to others who they are becoming. Then you'll no longer have use for your sword. So it's a sense of self-acceptance, and that very self-acceptance, Scorpio, of who you are, the good, bad, and ugly bits of yourself. When you accept yourself in your wholeness like that, you become a natural mirror for others. You reflect them. They see themselves, okay, or their shadow, or where they're lacking, their lack of self-acceptance. It's a beautiful flow of energy there for you. So, Scorpio, I hope there were some things in there, some themes, some topics, some inspiration in the card and the astrology I've given, that you can use this full moon to reflect and find your way forward, find your passion, find your desires. And Venus is all about desires and pleasure. So find those this full moon and use the waning moon to cut away anything that is blocking you from the beauty in your life and the beauty that is you. Okay. I hope that was helpful. If you want a personal reading, the tarot readings start as cheap as £20 for 20 minutes. They're very reasonable. I keep them reasonable so people can access them. There's astrology readings, lunation readings, shadow, soul path readings, all sorts of readings over there. So pop over if you want one. Pop over to www.soulsymbols.co.uk. All right then, Scorpio. Hope your full moon is very productive for you and you're reaping a beautiful harvest. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, Sagittarius. So this full moon is happening for you in your 5th house. And this is the house of pleasure, really. It's the joy of Venus. So it's about children and pregnancy. The themes are romance, love affairs, procreation, how you get the children, okay? It's also about, as I said, all things pleasure. So gifts, the arts, the things that bring you pleasure, your creativity, your hobby, aesthetics, the beautiful things in life, how you dress when you want to get beautifully dressed up, parties and leisure. Okay, a lot to do with leisure. So if you're actually in the leisure industry, it's even more to do with you. But it can be to do with gambling, either on the stock market, the horses or the dogs. So enjoy that, but do that with care. All right. Yeah. And it can be to do with diplomatic action, being an ambassador and finding agreement between others, being that mediator. Yeah. So they're all the topics. So when you're doing your I am journaling, if you intend to do it, these are the themes and topics around this full moon. So this full moon will be illumine all those areas and maybe the things that you haven't got in the way that you want. That eclipse happened for you in your 10th house. So that's your public face, your vocation, your career, where you get accolade and recognition out in the world, everything public. Whatever was closing off there in that ending of that huge generational cycle, go and have a look at the Virgo eclipse if you want to find out about that long term cycle. But it will also be playing out within that 10th house, career, vocation, public face, for the next 6 months. So the moon's here to illumine the pleasure side of that. Your pleasure is the work taking your pleasure away. Okay, so the card I got for you is the Wall. That sounds a bit ominous when we're talking about the house of pleasure, but the illumination may be because we need to make room for pleasure and creativity and procreation and children. I shall read the card out for you and you can add it for your reflections and things to look at if you've got blockages there with that house, that beautiful house of pleasure, all within your career. Okay, so it's obstacles, being inconvenienced by life, detours, and non-action. So it's saying there are moments in your life when you're so geared up, so sure you're on track, with such drive and momentum, that you're shocked and confused when you encounter a wall. This unpredictability occurs outside your ability to plan, regardless of if you've done everything right in alignment with the divine. It's imperative that you change your attitude now. This temporary roadblock is not an obstacle to blast through. This is not an invitation to push harder, cancel other plans, or worry about who will win or lose. This is a stopping point to enable you to slow down and contemplate the part of the manifesting equation that you and everyone else forgets. Life on life's terms will override your best laid plans. It's all those things, isn't it, outside of us, and we put the plans down and then something comes along to bugger it up, really. So yes, it's inconvenient. And as inconvenient as it may seem, this experience is an important reminder that you're a human being, not a human doing. Perhaps you're being reminded of your mortality, or that you are but a small part of a bigger universe. And you as Sagittarius should know that, because you're visionary, you see the big picture, you're ruled by Jupiter, which is sat in your 8th house, which again can be have difficult themes there. So it's not surprising this card has come out. That you're a smaller part of a bigger universe where your destiny intersects with others. Your life may be meant to serve other purpose at this moment, and your attention meant to be directed elsewhere. I'd suggest inside, especially with your ruling planet in that 8th house. Consider that this place of temporary non-action is exactly meant to be for you. Perhaps it's because all you desire and have set in motion needs time to coalesce into form on the other side. Could it be that all the elements are not yet in place for its manifestation to be for the highest good of all? Patience is required now, and the wisdom that this might be a great time to take a break and contemplate gratitude. What is truly yours will never be walled off from you. That's good advice from that card there. Yeah, so Sagittarius, if you've got those obstacles, those walls, take it as an opportunity to reflect. And after this full moon, as we move into the waning moon, you can take the I am from Aries and reflect with the moon, with that full moon, on who you are in terms of that pleasure, the 5th house, all those things I read out. And you'll probably find some breakthrough or some wisdom there if there are blockages, or if those blockages come up. This eclipse that happened for you in your 10th house will be playing out until March 2023. So this is the first illumination of the work that's going on in these new beginnings in terms of your career and your public face. Okay, Sagittarius, hope that was helpful. If you want a reading, a more personal reading, I do lunation readings with your natal chart and with cards. We can look into the themes, not just of this new moon, but full moon, but of any lunation cycle. I also do soul path, shadow, just plain old tarot and oracle readings, and your astrology, your birth chart astrology. So if you're interested, the prices are pretty cheap. They start from £20 for a 20-minute tarot reading, and the highest prices are very good, I think. So they're more accessible for people. Okay then, Sagittarius, if you fancy a read, go over to www.soulsymbols.co.uk, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, Capricorn. So this full moon is happening for you in your 4th house, okay? So that is the root of everything, the foundation. The themes are about roots, foundations. It's the beginning and end of all things. So it's a beautiful place to have that full moon in terms of this big karmic ending we had with that eclipse in Virgo. And this is an illumination of the seed you put there for new beginnings. Go back and have a look at the Virgo eclipse if you want to know a bit more about it. But the themes, yeah, the roots. So those roots can be your parents, particularly the father, your grandparents, your lineage, your ancestry. Those themes are involved. So if you're doing ancestral either investigation or work around genealogy, or you're doing the spiritual releasing, transmuting the karmic patterns for a lineage or a generation, that's all there. It's also about our psychological well-being that we carry through life, that we were conditioned into as children. But it's that treasures in the darkness. It's at the bottom of the chart. It's in the darkest part of night, okay? And it can be a love of the earth, this. You've got fire in that earth here, Capricorn, and as you're an earth sign, you may be someone who's very connected to the earth. So it can be even your home, this is about your home and the structure of your home, the building of your home. Absolutely, literally, but also the building of that place that you call home, where you find your comfort, safety, and have a lovely, can nurture your emotions and your life there. It's everything that is private and inner and rooted. So the card I got for you, Capricorn, was the Vanishing Mirror. Now, this is about ego sublimation. It's not about losing your ego. It's about that change, that difference. So this could actually be our ego is often, it's the roles, the masks that we wear. We need to be in the world, but this could be in your fourth house to do with that conditioning you received as a child, is being illuminated so that during the waning phase of the moon, you can let go of it and move on, and forge your own sense of thought, identity, and your home traditions. We don't have to continue those things if they're not growthful and beneficial to us. It's also about letting go self-centeredness, becoming a vessel of possibility. And we all have that level of self-centeredness in us. It's shadow, isn't it? We all have that. And sometimes we need to be a little bit self-centered to protect ourselves if we're giving out too much. So I'll read the card for you, Capricorn. Do you ever wonder if your self-definition has become too rigid, too fixed around what you've come to learn, so that you contract your life into zones of safe versus unsafe? Very topical for the fourth house. This here is okay, but over there, well, that might be too risky. That sort of thinking. Judgment, fear, self-righteousness, and overconfidence are only some of the traits that keep us from evolving. We're all products. Oh, this is brilliant, this card. We're all products of our conditioning. So remember that this is part of the human experience. Yet you're not meant to remain static, seeking only what you expect. Even if it appears ambitious, is it still too narrow? The sign of Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and that can be those limitations, boundaries. While they're not bad, they can make us very rigid if we've got that Capricorn energy. You go nowhere when you hesitate to move out of your comfort zone. When you focus too much on yourself this way, you become a servant of the ego. It edges God out, removing the magic of possibility. If you don't like that word, God, your higher power, your soul tribe, your higher self, whatever you like to put there, divine source. Imagine looking into a mirror and seeing only what you are now. If you can let yourself definition soften, moving beyond the veil to your potential, a magical emptiness exists where all things are possible. That's the void of all potentiality, okay? Look again, who could you be? What would you see reflected if you allowed yourself to be other than how you define yourself now? Nothing less is required of you now. In this moment, let go of who you think you are and allow a new you to emerge. You will recognize yourself as what you are, a partner in co-creation, in service to the divine. That feels good, doesn't it? So these are wonderful themes, not only the fourth house, but this card, to put that I am in a journal and let that, let your definition come as it arises in you, your feelings, your thoughts, the images, get them all down. You've got this time of reflection in the waning moon when it is a beautiful time to come back to yourself, your real self, your soul self, your co-creation, the divine spark. Okay, Capricorn, I hope that is helpful for you. If you want a personal readings start from £20 for 20 minutes. Pop on over to soulsymbol.co.uk and you can have a look at all the readings I do there, both astrology, oracle, tarot, soul readings, soul path readings, shadow readings. Yeah. And I look forward to reading for you if you decide to have a read, Capricorn. Okay, bye-bye then. I'll see you in the next one. Hello, Aquarius. So this full moon for you is happening in your third house. So I'll go over a bit of the themes for you to reflect on, what's coming to fruition. So the third house is about it can be about siblings and cousins, those relations, your early learning, your formative learning at school. But it's also about the environment you're swimming in, your neighbours, your neighbourhood, your community, your day to day, how you move about in your day to day. This third house is the joy of the moon. So it is about that ebb and flow, the fluctuation, the changing faces of your everyday. It can be about short travel. There's those things. Also communication, messages and letters, rumors, just general communications that can be on your PC. It is also connected with deeds and contracts here, the themes of this third house, and about those speeches, debates, our ability to express ourselves, to communicate. About self-expression. So what's interesting here is the ruler of this full moon is up there in your 10th house with Mercury. So that's your public face. That could be about your communication around your work, your career, your vocation, your drive to express yourself publicly. Maybe you're being called to do something like that and you're like, oh, there's that sense here in that third house, those themes. Your card that I pulled for you is in the hand, and it's about feeling secure, taken care of, and that the universe is your partner. So whatever you are manifesting, whatever clarity is coming through, this is your message from the divine to you. That eclipse for you was in Virgo, which was the ending of a long cycle, and it is what you seeded there. So whatever was seeded there is coming to clarity now at that full moon. It's being illumined, what has grown from whatever intentions you put there. So use those themes for your I am if you are going to do that and reflect on that. So the universe is your partner in the hand. So it says something amazing happens when you contemplate your intimate relationship with your higher power. How do you engage it? Perhaps you might have seen things through the influence of your religious background, or you may have been exposed to other ways of making that connection real for you. It doesn't matter the source of your understanding. What matters is that it works for you. For example, if you believe in a punitive God, you'll be afraid of punishment for your transgressions, for the things you do wrong. If you believe in a version of a higher power that blesses you, you may find it easier to surrender to a relationship of radical trust. And what I will say with this, you have got opposing, obviously, the full moon is the sun, and that is in your 9th house, and it's called the house of God. Okay, so that is about belief. So there's something shining from there, your house of belief and higher thinking, higher philosophy. Okay, so open up to that. Let's finish this. Oh, yeah, you might find it easier to surrender to a relationship of radical trust to what you see as your higher power. Right now, if you imagine relaxing, curled up in the hands of divine, how does that make you feel? Can you then turn over your needs and desires to that divine power and trust that you're safe and secure and don't have to do anything at all to feel that way? Grace is activated in your life now. You're in good hands. Your work, family, relationships, home, everything. You've done all you can do. So now is the time to rest and recharge instead of producing, doing, acting, strategizing. A hot tea, a good book, and a soft blanket are in order. So there you have it, Aquarius. It is a call to surrender, to feel taken care of, and not to be running around doing. And that 3rd house can bring that sense of busy running about. Okay. So I hope that was helpful to you, Aquarius. If you want a personal reading, and the tarot readings are reasonable, they start at £20 for 20 minutes. I do oracle readings, I do soul path, shadow work, astrology readings, and lunation readings. So pop over and have a look. And book one if you want to. Nice, easy booking system. And I'm at www.soulsymbols.co.uk. Enjoy your full moon and relax while the moon wanes. Reflect and enjoy it. I'll see you in the next one, Aquarius. Bye-bye. Hello, Pisces. So this full moon for you is happening in your 2nd house. So that is the house of all things financial. So your material comforts, what you're bringing, your earnings from the work that you do, and your resources, which can include you, your skills. You can be the resource. Everything of a financial nature, really, and how you get those resources to put a roof over your head and pay your bills and have fun and, buy the things that you want, because this is about those personal goods, your belongings. Can also be the money that you've lent out to others. All those financial things are going on there. And of course, in the 8th house opposite, that is other people's money. So that sun is shining from there and illuminating something in about your money and your resources. So there could be some good things happening through that. But what I do know about the chart here, the transits, you've got Saturn transiting that 1st house, your 1st house of Pisces. He has been bringing limitations. He has been in Aries, and he's gone back retrograded into your 1st house. So he's tying up the loose ends. So there may be things about yourself. You may not see the resources you've got in there. Saturn has been building a foundation in that house for just over 2 years, I think. And he'll be there till February and then come back into that 2nd house. So they're all your themes there. The eclipse, the Virgo eclipse that you laid the seeds of intention down, was in your 7th house. So there may have been huge endings in relationships there, or there may be new beginnings there. That can also be about business partners and contracts there. So they're the kind of things that you're looking at that are being illumined at this full moon. You'll get clarity on those themes, okay, for this full moon. And your card that I pulled for you is a lovely one. It's the Unmarked Trail, an unprecedented experience, discovery, and revelation. I just mentioned, with Saturn being in that first house, maybe you don't realize how many resources you have in you. Or maybe that is being illumined at the moment, that you are the very resource you need to have all that financial security. Okay. So I'm going to read this card to you. It says, "You're called now to embark on a sacred journey." Arthur's knights, in their quest for the Holy Grail, had to make sure to take an unmarked trail that no one had ever followed, or they would not accomplish their goal. Likewise, you must enter the darkest forest of your soul via a route as yet unidentified to find what you seek. The manicured paths will bring you only temporary pleasure and later great pain. Stop it. You already know there's no reward at the end of the road you're following. You're only killing time. Pause, breathe, and commit in your heart to a sacred endeavor. Vow to not look for old solutions that may have worked with past challenges. Get out of character. Try the outrageous. Keep your quest private. Now is not the time to speak of the voice that calls you to embark on the unmarked trail. That time will come. So if you've got things that you're cultivating, starts out about that scary journey, but actually it's not that scary. It's an adventure. If you're opening to that, you're being called to look within you. And maybe, as I said a while ago, you are that resource that you've been looking all out there for. And the unmarked trail is within you to allow all your skills, talents, abilities to resurface, to do the work, the divine work, be working in the way that you're called to work, the reason you're here, the purpose, the work you're here to do. That unmarked trail can be a sign that you've already made a choice, even if you don't want to acknowledge it. Be at peace with what your heart knows to be true. Your heart has already been made up, and your mind will follow. Act lightly, taking only essential beliefs that you know will be trustworthy under all circumstances. The universe has your back, Pisces, it says. Didn't say Pisces, but the universe has your back. So it's beautiful. It's, going within yourself. If there are financial restrictions, constrictions, or difficulties, open up, go within, look, because you might find the very things inside of you that you've been looking outside for. Okay, Pisces, I really hope that was helpful. I hope you can use those themes and topics around your I am reflections in terms of your resources, your financial well-being, how you skill up, are able to make yourself feel safe materially. Use that fire of Aries in your second there. Okay, if you want a personal read, Pisces, pop on over to my website. I do tarot readings at a very reasonable price. They start at £20, and there's oracle readings, all sorts of readings over there, shadow, soul path, astrology readings, lunation readings. Pop on over to www.soulsymbols.co.uk, and I would love to do a reading for you if you decide you want one. Easy booking system there. All right then, Pisces, enjoy the full moon, relax, reflect while the moon is waning. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.